Mysteries beneath the turquoise waters. The hidden legends of the Maldives. In the depths of the Maldives, among coral reefs that conceal more than they reveal, stories are told that don't appear in tourist guides. Islands that vanish without explanation. Whispers among the waves when no one is near. Creatures that emerge at night and disappear at dawn. And submerged ruins that could rewrite the history of this paradise region. What you are about to see is not just any legend. It's a journey to the hidden heart of one of the most beautiful and unsettling places on the planet. Welcome to WanderGems, the channel where we explore the most astonishing mysteries of the world. Those that hide just behind the curtain of the everyday. Today, we will take you through deserted beaches, tales forgotten by time, and secrets that only the most curious dare to uncover. So, if you're one of those who seek more than sun and sand, beyond the postcards, this video was made for you. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell. Here, at WanderGems, every corner of the planet has something to say. And we are here to listen. Mysteries beneath the turquoise waters. The hidden legends of the Maldives. The Maldives they don't tell you about. Beauty, history, and shadows. The Maldives, a name that evokes images of paradise. Overwater resorts, dream beaches, eternally blue skies. A destination that seems designed to disconnect you from the world. But what very few know is that this paradise also holds a deep and sometimes dark past. This archipelago, made up of over 1,000 islands scattered across the Indian Ocean, has witnessed centuries of history. Arab traders, Portuguese navigators, British invasions, and before all that, civilizations whose existence is barely whispered through generations. On many islands, the elders tell stories that are not taught in schools. They speak of times when the spirits of the sea ruled the currents, when fishermen offered tributes to the ocean to return alive, and when some islands breathed, rising and sinking as if they had a life of their own. There are ruins underwater that no one has claimed. Stones cut with precision, aligned as if forming paths. Ancient submerged routes, remnants of a lost civilization. Official researchers rarely speak out, but the locals, they know that something strange happens here. And it all begins with an ancient, almost forgotten word. Fanditha. Magic, protection, curse. Fanditha is not just superstition. It is an ancestral way of understanding and manipulating the invisible world surrounding these islands. Fanditha, the magic that flows with the tides. Fanditha. A soft word to pronounce, but loaded with ancestral power. It is not common witchcraft, nor Western sorcery. It is a unique practice of the Maldives. A blend of spirituality, medicine, astrology, and contact with forces that, according to those who master it, inhabit the invisible world surrounding these islands. Practitioners of Fanditha are known as Fanditha men. Healers, spiritual guides, or guardians of secrets that have passed down through generations in absolute silence. They use ancient books written in Lomafanu, the ancient writing system on palm leaves, detailing spells to calm storms, protect villages from evil spirits, or even to make an entire island vanish in the fog. Yes, an entire island. Many believe these are just legends. But in the north of the Ha-Alif Atoll, there are oral records of an island that vanished in the 19th century, just after its Fanditha man was expelled by colonizers. The elders say the sea swallowed it as punishment. Others believe it is still there, but hidden, protected by spells that blind human eyes. In the Maldives, the line between the real and the invisible is as thin as the sand between your fingers. And Fanditha is not just a belief, it is a warning. Shadows in the sea. The creatures fishermen fear to name. For centuries, fishermen in the Maldives have lived in close connection with the ocean. But not everything they've seen out there can be explained by marine biology. Many say there are areas of the archipelago where fishing is never done. Not for lack of fish, but for what dwells below. He claims that one night, when he was young, something collided with his dhoni. It wasn't a shark or a manta ray. It was something that swam without moving, that had no visible eyes, yet watched him from the depths. And when he returned to shore, he noticed suction cup marks on the bottom of the boat. Marks that did not match any known creature. Some speak of the Mali, a spiritual sea creature described in ancient Divehi texts. Half shadow, half mist, capable of taking the form of your greatest fear. The tales about it are not mere grandmother's stories. Several divers have reported experiencing extreme disorientation, temporary memory loss, and the feeling of being watched from multiple directions just before seeing something they couldn't explain. What lies in those depths? Ancestral creatures that time forgot? Beings tied to the Fanditha, summoned to protect the secrets of the sea? Whatever it is, fishermen know this. You should never look directly at the water during the new moon, because what lives down there might also be looking back. Cursed constellations. When the stars changed the course of the sea, long before satellites, maps, and flight paths existed, the Maldives were navigated by looking at the sky. The constellations were a compass, a calendar, a spiritual guide, but also a warning. The ancient Maldivian navigators knew a star configuration that, when it appeared, marked the Bodu Olhi, the Great Turn. A pattern that, according to them, predicted sudden storms, changes in currents, and the appearance of things that shouldn't be there. Legends say that on certain nights of the year, when the constellation of Keethi, the Claw of the Abyss, aligns with the northern horizon, the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds blur. Ships disappear. Islands become shrouded. And the ancient sea spirits, those who never set foot on land, roam the waters seeking what was taken from them. There are rituals that sailors still perform upon seeing that constellation appear. Burning dried coconut leaves, pouring holy water over the mast, and never, ever looking directly at the reflection of the stars in the sea. Because according to tradition, what is reflected is not always the sky. Sometimes it is an ancient version of the world, one that is waiting for the exact moment to return. In the Maldives, even the sky has secrets, and the oldest have yet to be deciphered. The Ghost Resort, luxury, silence, and an unexplainable presence. In one of the most remote atolls of the Maldives lies what the locals simply call the Silent Island. It doesn't appear in tourist brochures. No influencer has posted photos from there. And if you ask the boat operators, they will look at you awkwardly, pretending not to know what you're talking about. But the documents are there. And the rumors too. It was an exclusive 5-star resort. Floating rooms with glass bottoms, international chefs, extreme luxury services. A gem for investors. But something happened. First, there were power outages. Then, inexplicable disappearances of objects, and finally, collective panic among the night staff. The final report was brief and confusing. The environment is not stable for tourist operations. But former employees spoke years later. One claimed to have seen figures in the water calling him by name. Another, a Filipino waitress, stated that every night in room 7, the sound of a distant drum began at the same time, 3:33 a.m. With no apparent source, no technical explanation. Some paranormal investigators have tried to reach, but the locals refuse to transport strangers there. They say the island is marked, that it was built on sacred ground where ancient Fanditha rituals were performed to seal something that should not be awakened. In a paradise where everything seems perfect, there are places that time cannot purify. Places where the energy remains. And if you listen closely on the silent island, the sea does not return the echo. Only the whisper of what does not want to be forgotten. Balance rituals, how Maldivians coexist with the invisible. At first glance, the Maldives seem like a postcard paradise. A place where time stands still and the sun never forgets to shine. But beneath this beauty lies a culture that has not forgotten. On many islands, small protection rituals are still practiced. Everyday acts that mean nothing to tourists, but that locals consider essential. Some sprinkle blessed seawater at their doorsteps before dusk. Others never allow mirrors to face windows, fearing that someone on the other side might look in. Traditional fishermen, even today, never set out to sea on Friday nights. Not out of superstition, but because, according to the ancients, it's when the Divehi Dandikalun, the ocean spirits, walk on waves invisible to the human eye. And although tourism has brought modernity, in the most remote villages, the Kurafali is still performed. A spiritual balance ritual celebrated during certain lunar phases. It is not done to invoke, nor to ask. It is done to remember that all that is calm can be shattered if the sacred is forgotten. The Maldives are not just coral islands floating in blue. They are also spiritual anchors. Watchtowers between the world we see and the one we barely understand. And those who live here know it. That's why they don't laugh at legends. They live with them. And they make space for them. Balance rituals, how Maldivians coexist with the invisible. At first glance, the Maldives seem like a postcard paradise. A place where time stands still and the sun never forgets to shine. But beneath this beauty lies a culture that has not forgotten. On many islands, small protection rituals are still practiced. Everyday acts that mean nothing to tourists, but that locals consider essential. Some sprinkle blessed seawater at their doorsteps before dusk. Others never allow mirrors to face windows, fearing that someone on the other side might look in. Traditional fishermen, even today, never set out to sea on Friday nights. Not out of superstition, but because, according to the ancients, it's when the Divehi Dandikalun, the ocean spirits, walk on waves invisible to the human eye. And although tourism has brought modernity, in the most remote villages, the Kurafali is still performed. A spiritual balance ritual celebrated during certain lunar phases. It is not done to invoke, nor to ask. It is done to remember that all that is calm can be shattered if the sacred is forgotten. The Maldives are not just coral islands floating in blue. They are also spiritual anchors. Watchtowers between the world we see and the one we barely understand. And those who live here know it. That's why they don't laugh at legends. They live with them. And they make space for them. Voices from Paradise. Unexplained experiences of tourists in private islands. Tourists visiting the Maldives seek rest and beauty. But some return with stories that defy all logic. Tales of strange lights at night, whispers that seem to call by name, and shared dreams among those staying in the same villa. Tourist. It was impossible not to notice. Every night, just before midnight, I saw a faint light floating over the lagoon. And I wasn't alone. I felt something watching me. And when my friend saw it too, we knew it wasn't just our imagination. These are not isolated cases. In various forums and secret groups online, travelers have shared similar experiences. Some believe these manifestations are echoes of the past, fragments of stories buried beneath the turquoise waters. Are they warnings? Calls from a world that coexists with ours? Or perhaps an invitation to uncover secrets that beauty hides? The truth is that in the Maldives, even paradise has its shadows, and those who find them never look at the sea with the same eyes again. Echoes in art. How Maldivian legends inspire modern culture. The legends and mysteries surrounding the Maldives are not just ancient tales. They are the creative spark that ignites contemporary culture. Visual artists capture the ethereal atmosphere of the ocean and its secrets on their canvases. Images that seem to come alive, inviting us to look beyond the surface. Writers revisit the stories of the Fanditha, the vanished islands, and marine creatures, transforming them into novels, stories, and scripts that are increasingly circulating among the youth. Emerging filmmakers explore these legends, creating short films and documentaries that are beginning to attract international attention. Their works not only entertain, they also preserve an intangible heritage, keeping the memory of the invisible alive. In the Maldives, mystery and tradition are not forgotten. They are reinvented. And they are lived, like a bridge between the past and the future. Close Encounter, the secret testimony of a local inhabitant. Legends are not just tales for tourists or folklore stories. In the Maldives, there are those who have experienced the inexplicable firsthand. Today, we will hear the testimony of Ibrahim, a local fisherman who kept his experience silent for years. Ibrahim. It was a moonless night. The sea was still, almost like a mirror. I went out to fish, as always. But that night, something changed. I saw a faint blue light under the water, near my boat. At first, I thought it was a fish, or some bioluminescence, but the light began to form shapes, like shadows dancing slowly. Ibrahim. Then I heard a whisper, a sound that seemed to come from the sea itself. It was neither a human nor an animal voice, but I understood it was trying to communicate something to me. I felt fear, but also peace, as if I was being shown a secret, something ancient. Ibrahim. Since that night, I respect the sea and its mysteries even more. I know that not everything is meant to be understood, but it is meant to be respected. This testimony is just one of many that could be told. In the Maldives, the line between reality and legend is as thin as the line where water meets sand. Preserving the legacy beyond coral and sand. The Maldives face a dual challenge today, protecting their fragile ecosystem and keeping their invisible history alive. International and local organizations are working to conserve the coral reefs, whose health is vital for the survival of these floating islands. But it's not just nature that they preserve. Cultural projects have emerged to revitalize and document the legends, traditions, and ancestral practices. Because in the Maldives, true wealth lies not only in the landscape, but in the soul that has inhabited these lands and waters for centuries. Keeping this legacy alive is an act of respect and love for a world that, though invisible to many, continues to pulse beneath the waves. Beasts of the ocean, myths and realities of marine creatures. In the depths of the ocean surrounding the Maldives, legends speak of creatures that seem pulled from a dream or a nightmare. The tales describe gigantic beings with shimmering bodies and eyes that light up the night, guardians of marine secrets. But could these myths be inspired by real creatures, some so mysterious that they still elude science? The majestic manta ray, for example, has been seen as a sea serpent due to its size and grace. The whale shark, the largest fish in the world, has been associated with legends of giants sleeping beneath the water. Perhaps in those depths, secrets still await discovery. Creatures that have inspired fear and respect, and that are part of the living soul of the Maldives. Tales of travelers. Encounters with the unexplainable throughout history. Since ancient times, travelers and explorers have been drawn to the mystery surrounding the Maldives. One of the earliest accounts comes from an English sailor who, in 1785, documented strange lights at night over the water and sounds that seemed to come from the depths. Another traveler from the 19th century described how, as he approached an island, a dense fog suddenly arose, and human figures appeared and disappeared among the shadows. These accounts, recorded in diaries and letters, add to a legacy of mystery that remains alive today. Although the modern world has changed the Maldives, the stories of its waters continue to whisper secrets to those who wish to listen. Reflection. The Maldives are much more than a paradise destination. They are a place where the visible and the invisible converge, where the sea holds ancient secrets that still whisper in the wind. They invite us to respect, discover, and marvel at their mystery. For in every wave, in every legend, lives a story that connects us to something greater. If you have been fascinated by this journey through the hidden secrets beneath the turquoise waters, don't forget to subscribe to WanderGems to keep exploring the most astonishing mysteries of the world together. Leave your comment below. Do you know any legend or mystery worth telling? We would love to hear it. Until the next adventure,